And what is going on, guys? How are we all doing? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk about the purpose of a mini cut. So with mini cuts, right, people often get confused a wee bit, like, well, if I'm bulking, then surely I should just keep trying to build as much muscle as possible. And they kind of view mini cutting as like a step back or not conducive to the overall goal, right? Now, I couldn't disagree any more to that. Mini cuts are pretty important later on down the line, of bulking phases. It's just about figuring out why are we doing a mini cut, the process, essentially what happens if we don't mini cut. Now, obviously, when we're bulking, we really do want to put an emphasis on minimising fat gain as much as possible. However, we know that if you're increasing your calories, if you're putting on body weight, body fat is a byproduct of that, and no matter how hard you try and mitigate that, you will build up some body fat eventually, right? Now, with body fat, with a higher amount of body fat comes insulin resistance. Now, insulin is a very potent anabolic signal to the body that promotes muscle growth, right? Now, if your body becomes resistant to that signalling, then your overall impacting your ability to build muscle. Now, what this means is it's essentially your body's ability to process and uptake carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates are super important. If we are inhibiting our ability to process that, then we're inhibiting muscle building overall. So while it might seem like, you're bulking, you're putting all this food down, body weight is going up, that might not actually be muscle growth, of course, right? Because if we're heavily resistant to insulin, the chances are we're not really going to be building up muscle, and we're just going to be the chances are we're probably not going to be putting on muscle, and we're probably going to be putting a lot of that weight on as fat mass, which is obviously not what we want. Now, it goes without saying that if you're eating 4,000, 5,000 calories a day, at some point that's going to become quite a chore. You're not going to enjoy eating that amount for a long period of time, right? Appetite problems are inevitable, right? In a bulking phase, there will come a point where you're going to be struggling to eat more food, no matter how hard you try and focus on your digestion and all that stuff, right? You will run into appetite problems. And with appetite problems comes digestion problems. So your digestion will probably be in the toilet. You'll probably be experiencing a lot of bloating, gas, indigestion, flatulence, all of that, nasty stuff will definitely become a reality as you progress down into those deep stages of a bulk. Now, if your digestion's fucked and you're eating a lot of food, you can definitely expect to be digesting a lot of that food late into the night, because if you're eating 5,000 calories a day, your body is going to take much longer to process that, and when you're sleeping, right, and your gut is working to digest all that food, you're decreasing your overall sleep quality. Now, we know that sleep is pretty much the main driver of recovery. If you're not sleeping well, you're not getting a good quality sleep, then you're not recovering, right? It's as simple as that. So, of course, with decreased sleep quality comes decreased recovery in general, right? We're not recovering from our sessions, we're not going to be progressing as fast as we want to, and we're just going to have this really, awful sensation of just feeling shit. Right? Now, with all that digestion and sleep issues, that is going to raise your resting heart rate. Now, resting heart rate is a pretty good indication of how stressed the body is. And if your resting heart rate is super jacked up, you're going to be in a constantly stressed state, overly inflamed, and that's just going to have a negative feedback loop with your digestion, with your sleep, and all those other things, right? Now, hopefully, from what I've just described, I've painted a pretty good picture of how you're going to be feeling. All of that, right, that is going to combine into this feeling of just shit. Right, you're going to be feeling awful, less progress overall, you're going to be putting on more fat mass, not necessarily muscle growth, you're going to be sleeping like shit, your training performance will probably suffer, and you'll just be feeling really bad. This is where mini cuts come in, okay? So why do we mini cut? Well, it's to fix all these problems that I just mentioned. It's to reduce any unwanted body fat that's been built up. It's to improve your sensitivity to insulin, get that appetite back down, improve your digestive function, reduce that resting heart rate, so get your heart rate nice and low, get your body de-stressed. And of course, with all that, with that decreased stress on the digestive system, you'll sleep better. A better sleep will improve your recovery, better performance, right? So all of these things are linked, and when you just reduce that food, all of these issues get resolved. So how do we do this? How do we go about mini cutting? Now, it's going to be pretty person dependent, how high your calories are for one. But generally, if you are a male, we're going to slash your calories by quite a bit. So like 500 to like 1,000 calories, right? Similarly for females, if you are eating pretty high calories, we're just going to slash your calories by 500, right? Automatically, right? Now that in itself, that'll drastically reduce the stress on your digestive system, and you'll see really positive benefits within the first few days of just pulling that food down, from your training performance to your sleep, general mood, everything, right? Then what we'll do is we'll probably quickly add in some cardio, right? So some steady state cardio, getting our heart rate within a desired range and keeping it there, just to improve your aerobic base and just drive that resting heart rate down even further to reduce that stress on the body. So how much cardio? We're talking maybe like 2 times a week. We've all been there. I know I preach it, but we do get lazy, especially in bulking phases where we do get lazy in bulking phases, right? We kind of neglect cardio, so this is a good opportunity to bring that cardio back in, get your heart rate back down, and just start feeling a wee bit better about ourselves. So that's pretty much the main process. Slash some of your calories, get some cardio in, get ourselves feeling good, and most importantly, just get you hungry, get that appetite nice and high. Once we get that appetite down, and once we regulate our body fat a wee bit, and once we get that heart rate down, and once we just reduce that stress overall, that is pretty much the end goal of a mini cut, right? It's not necessarily to get crazy lean, but it's to fix all those overarching issues, right? Reduce some body fat, get your heart rate down, improve your digestion and your appetite, and just get you hungry, right? Now, in terms of time frame, we're talking anywhere from like 4 to 6 weeks. We want to play this pretty aggressively, right? We want to really get in and out. We're not looking for a specific amount of body fat to lose. We're just looking to get you healthy, right? And get you in a good position to continue to push back up. So the next step from there is once you're good and hungry, once we've got that body fat off, we're pretty much in the perfect position to continue progressing back up in your gaining phase. How I like to do this is I like to gradually reverse calories back up again. There's no point going from 3,000 calories going all the way to 4,000 calories. If we can maintain that appetite and start gradually building calories back up again, obviously the higher calories is going to improve your training performance again. We're going to be pushing ourselves a wee bit harder. We're going to give ourselves more fuel to progress in our sessions altogether. So if we can just give the body what it needs to make the most amount of progress, and then once we start to stall, give it a wee bit more, give it a wee bit more, give it a wee bit more, and then before you know it, we end up getting back to where we were beforehand at the same body weight, for example, but drastically improved condition because we've built more muscle. So gaining phases aren't this linear thing where we start on 2,000 calories and just keep progressing. There's pit stops. We can get to a point, we can pull back a wee bit, and then gradually work our way back up to that point while looking better in the process, right? So guys, I've rambled on quite a lot. I'll finish it off here. Thanks very much for watching. Look out for more of these videos in future where we go into the nitty gritty of certain phases within reaching a desired body composition goal. So look out for future videos pretty much like this. As always, any comments, any DMs, you need questions, ask me whatever and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So with that being said, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all soon. Have a good one.